Hello, welcome back to Afterbirth, the crowning and stepping into the promise. So now I want to actually talk about the actual afterbirth because I actually didn't talk about the afterbirth. What? You were talking about afterbirth. This whole thing's about afterbirth. No. I'm talking about, there's actually something that they call afterbirth. That's when you birth out the placenta after you've given birth to the child. Some women, it comes out after they give birth. Some women, it doesn't. Now, this is interesting that some women's water breaking doesn't always happen. I don't know how that works. Because you would think the water breaking is the sign that the baby is coming. But some women's water does not break automatically. So they have to actually go in and get the water to break so the baby can come out. And then you have the placenta, which is your after. When that part needs to come out after you've given birth, because this thing right here holds all of the toxins that the baby's discharged while it was in the womb. What is that? You know what that is. That's the nasty stuff. All the things that come out your body. That's what held all that stuff so that it didn't come out into the mother's bloodstream. Meaning the excrement, the urine, all that kind of stuff that the baby is releasing. And if you have more than one, guess what? That's where it's going. The umbilical cord feeds off of the mother, but the placenta holds all the toxins. So they have to make sure that comes out, because when that come out, that's all that kind of stuff. If it doesn't come out, then it could actually cause internal infections and all that kind of stuff for the mother. What does that look like in your business? That means you've now birthed the business. You've now birthed the product. You've now birthed. You got to go back in now and look at all of the things that went wrong, discharged, came up, didn't work right in the process, didn't move smoothly, all that kind of stuff. These are the things that are toxic for another run of this product, service, so on and so forth. Your formulas, your scripts, if you have scripts, if your conversations, what you need to do that didn't go as smoothly as it was supposed to, your wording wasn't correct, this, that, and all the other stuff that needs to be done, that has to come out. Because if you leave that in there, every cycle you go through of trying to sell this thing or promote this thing or push this thing. But it's easier now that you've done it once, but recognizing, okay, this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. So you're taking all that frontward, meaning at the front of you taking out this baby or this baby having been launched. You may take a moment, but they're going to get that out of there. It's got to come out of there. Some people leave those things in there and they practice unhealthy, unethical business practices. You know how people do. They try to shortchange. But these toxins, you ever heard a person say the little foxes? They're going to be the things that are going to spoil what it is you're trying to build, and you're going to end up dealing with hemorrhaging. Hemorrhaging is a bleed out and stuff like that in other places in your business later on. You understand what I'm saying? So what you need to do first is after you've done your launch party and you celebrated and then all of that, you have to take a physical reset time. Most people don't want to do this. They want to immediately plan for the next thing and run into it. Come on, you workaholics, you know you do it. You want to run into that next process, that next thing you're supposed to put your hands to, that next. You ready to run. And it's like, you can't run directly into your next thing. What is wrong with you? You just gave birth. You know them women that give birth, have a baby, within 3 months they pregnant with the next one? I was looking at something the other day. I literally was falling asleep on it. Actually, I had the TV on MPT. And I don't even know why I was looking at this. This woman was a midwife, and she was talking about her process and practices as she's helping women prepare to give birth to their child. And one woman came in there. She had that baby literally looked like she had the child sitting on her lap that was between 5 and 6 months old. And she already 4.5 months pregnant with another child. Sometimes you got to give your body the ability to physically rest before you put another one up in there. But some of us have the tendency that after we give birth to something, we want to go, let me run and do something else. Aren't you tired? Aren't you physically tired? Aren't you still trying to adjust to this one? Because I'm sure that little one's a ball of energy. Think about your business. Yeah, you just developed and you just birthed something new. That's amazing. But I bet you that one's a ball of energy. It takes a lot for you to continue to maintain and cultivate that thing. Making sure things go out when they're supposed to. Making sure your advertisements, your ads, your email sequences. Yeah, great. You automate everything. Yeah, you have an assistant. Yeah, you're doing all this. But what kind of pressure are you putting on them? Think about it. When a woman or a mother gives birth, what kind of pressure is she putting on her husband? Number one. What kind of pressure is she putting on the people that are coming around to help, whether it's the mother-in-law, the sister-in-law, all these people that are coming around because she trying to push something else out, or she done got pregnant again, because it happens, and now her mood is like on 365, and the spouse is sitting up there walking on eggshells because he's like, I don't know what I should do around this person because they're irritated all the time. I didn't marry an irritated person, but they're irritable, they're irritated, they're uncomfortable, sometimes they're sore, depending on what it is that they're dealing with in their body. I'm trying to be as helpful as possible, but I'm dealing with them dealing with stuff. So what are you doing to the people around you when you do that? Now, some people, they are natural nurturers and they just have a peace about them. I pray to be that person when I get pregnant, that I just am peaceful. Peaceful. But if you aren't, you're going to be dealing with some irritability. And we talked a little bit of the detoxing of the body in the previous one, where we talked about the things that come out of the body. You are going through a level of a 6-week detoxing of your body, meaning all the toxins that were held in your body that didn't come out because you were going through your monthly cycles for 9 or 10 months. That discharge gotta come out. Clotting, bleeding, the nasty stuff. You're dealing with soft and loositiveness of other bodily functions, right between the lines. And that also causes some mood swings, and you got to get your hormones back in balance because your hormones everywhere. Hello, because you dealing with detoxing that. Some people, what they do is they will do a physical detox after having gone through a business run. This is where I'm an avid health person when it comes to doing juicing, when it comes to doing juice detoxes, when it comes to doing raw salad or raw foods for a couple of days to get your body back in order. Maybe you need to detox your body and make sure that during that 6-week period, I'm a Christian, you're going to get this Jesus. There was a 40-day consecration that occurred in the Bible. Maybe you need to figure out the best way for you to do that 40 days, because 40 days actually is a 6-week period. How are you detoxifying yourself during that 6 weeks? Meaning, are you juicing? Are you eating healthy? What does that look like? How are you replenishing the nutrition? Because a woman has to make sure that she's replenishing the nutrition that goes back in her body after having given birth to that thing. For an individual, and I'm gonna bring this up for entertainers because we see this all the time with entertainers. You ever notice that they go on these weird diets? They call them fad diets. That they go on these weird elemental diets when they have to do a show or something like that, where they, for the 6 weeks leading up to or what have you, they go on a vegan diet or they go into these weird. Now, to me, I think some of that stuff is like, now come on, cucumber water only, and you hear them sitting up there saying, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Now, you ain't going that deep, but you are going to do what's necessary. You know that there's certain nutrients your child needs. You got to look at dietary charts of the types of foods that you need to be ingesting, because you have to think about what's going into you, that especially if you're breastfeeding, what needs to go into that baby. Because what you're eating's going into them. You understand what I'm saying? I hope you hear me what I'm saying. So, and I'm going to go deeper into that in the next couple of videos. But yeah, you're in the process of healing. Those wounds are healing. Those cuts, those tears, all that kind of stuff. I'm reminded of something I've heard Tiffany Montgomery say, that at a certain point in the year, it's like halftime. For my people that like football references. You're getting bandaged up. You're getting rehydrated. You are checking wounds, checking for new wounds, checking to see if you can continue to operate in this season, so on and so forth, as you prepare to move to that next phase. That's what you're doing. Do I want to go into that in this one? Yeah, well, I'll go into that in this one. I remember when I was a kid, my mom had to go into surgery when I was 10. No, I was younger than 10 because I was still living at home. The first home I lived in. So it had to have been about between 7 and 8. And she went into surgery. She had to stay in the hospital overnight, and then she came home within the next couple of days. And I remember that during this time frame, she was quite sore. and you had to put her to bed and all this kind of stuff. But I've always been that person. To this day, I'm still that person. If a person needs help, I'm gonna help them out. Even at 7 years old, I did that. So my mom, she had ended up, it was the day after she came home. Now, I was the person that helped her with the bandaging. For some of you, if you end up giving birth to a child, you got to go through a level of bandaging. When you give birth to a business, there are things that you got to patch up constantly until those little things are fully dealt with. These are certain routines that you have to use as patches for the areas that weren't completely working right in your business. You understand what I'm saying? So I had to deal with the gauzing, the bandaging, the taping up of her, the wound. Now, she had, I think they were doing invisible stitching back then, but she ended up catching a leak. And it wasn't that it was a leak, it was a discharge. And the reason you knew it was discharge because the iodine that they used came out. So it wasn't the color of blood, it was iodine. So it was this reddish brown liquid that came out. And I had to help her patch that up. Some of you, when you've developed a new product, new service, so on and so forth, there are going to be discharge. Meaning those things that kind of come out or come up in the business as you've launched it. A lot of us see these things as frustrations, little things. Man, I wish I didn't have to deal with that and the other. It's part of the process. Is discharging the stuff that no longer can work. It's like a plant. When a gardener is pruning a plant, they have to cut certain things back. Some of y'all when you go into business, you got to do cutbacks on, maybe it's something, I'm going to tell you a little story. Somebody I knew, they were dealing with the adjustment phase. After you started a business, you need to bring people on. That they were bringing too many people on. They had the money, but they were hemorrhaging it a little bit. And because they were hemorrhaging it a little bit, they ended up messing with their taxes that year because of the fact that they were putting too much money out and all that kind of stuff, because they were thinking that they needed to make sure that they had the right bridges, and then some people were betraying, and then it was this, that, and the other. These are the things you need to discharge. Cutting off the wrong people that you hired on, making sure that you have the right systems in place. If you are new, understanding you don't need the elite package of the system, you need the beginner's package of the system, and you need to go up. Is that the right system for you? Maybe that system can't carry the weight financially of what it is that you're going to need to do. Perfect example, PayPal. Everybody loves them some PayPal. You understand that if you have too many orders come in, suddenly they'll lock your account? Because they'll think it's a fraudulent thing, especially if your business is new. So you actually could end up in a dead zone where you can't get payments. Or maybe because you're in a new business, you went for a long period of time without putting any money on your card. And then all of a sudden you got a whole bunch of payments and back payments and all this type of stuff coming into the system. And they're like, what in the heck is this? Then they have to put a freeze on it, and you're sitting there, which means when you get a freeze on your accounts, let me tell you this, any new money that's trying to come in can't hit the account. So that money, it's like somebody power washing a window. It's hitting, but it's not going in. It's not going anywhere. It's just hitting and bouncing back off. So that money is actually getting lost in the ether because it's like it couldn't hit the account, and then it's being what do you call it, cash back charged to the original location, and then it's like, oh, this payment processor couldn't receive it. No. All of these things are discharged. You understand what I'm saying? And then as you're adjusting, that maybe you had a faster adjustment, and you need to change your payment processor really quick because you need to make sure these are those risks, those cons, those toxins, those things that are discharging off of your business. And you need to be prepared for that. So with that, there may be some people that need to hold you up during that season. I'm a Christian, you're going to get this Jesus. And because you're going to get this Jesus, I'm going to tell you about this scene in the Bible that talks about Aaron and Hur. When Moses was in the middle of a battle, he had a whole bunch of stuff that he had to do. He had 2 people hold his arms up so that they could continue to win the battle. Some of you, because you're the main source of your business, maybe you're the face of the business, maybe you're whatever it is, but because of that fact, you have to have 2 people on the side of you making sure, are you eating? Are you drinking? Are you making sure? Because guess what? When you're a new mother, your husband and maybe your mother-in-law, your husband and maybe your sister-in-law, your husband and maybe your best friend got to be there to hold you up while you're feeding the babies, while you are taking care of the things that need to be taken care of, because there's certain things that you cannot avoid doing after having given birth, meaning you still got to feed those babies. You got to still attend to those babies. You still got to nest with those babies. You still got to allow those babies to lay on you and get that nesting time in with you. And this is why I believe you see a lot of cases when a woman gives birth to a child, she deals with an emotional detachment from the child. And they don't even want the child on them. They don't want the child around them. And they're dealing with hormonal imbalances because of the fact that this child now has become a dependent on them and they can't do nothing. So they're frustrated with it. It's not that they mean to be frustrated with it, but they're just frustrated. They don't want anything on them. They're hot. They're uncomfortable. They can see sore. They're dealing with all this. Like, it's like, stop. Think about anybody. Anybody would be like that. It's like, and then it's crawling on you and laying on you and and it's not the fact that you don't love this child. It's the fact that emotionally and internally your body's going through a lot right now. And it's not that you don't love the child, but some people end up emotionally detached because of the fact that I'm hot, I'm irritable, my mood swings, all this. I can't eat like I want to. I'm nauseated. I'm this, that, and the other. And then I have to have this child laying on me. And you feel like I should feel better for this, but at the same time, your body don't feel good right now. You ever been sick? Think about being sick. Think about being sick and sore. Think about being dizzy, uncomfortable, nauseated, all this kind of stuff, and you still have to have something laying on you. Because it wants your attention. It needs you to nurse it. It needs you. People don't think about these things when it comes down to a woman giving birth to a child. Ain't nobody thinking about that. You understand what it is that I'm saying? Some of you, when it comes down to after having given birth, it's hard for you to walk. It's hard for you to stand, especially if you had surgery to any capacity. When my mother had surgery at that time, she needed me to bend down and get on my knees on the bed so she could roll onto me in such a way to get into a standing position that I could push her up to stand. Okay? Some of you are going to need help. To my workaholic women, men, what have you, that feel like I can do bad all by myself, and you do. You're going to need help standing up after. You're going to need help having your arms dealt with. You're going to need help walking to the bathroom. And to my Miss Independent women, yeah. I believe some of y'all, that's why you don't want to have kids, because you know that you're going to need the help then. She needed help to stand. You're going to need help to stand after giving birth to this thing. You're going to need help as a physical being to keep this thing in order. You can't manage it all by yourself, because you're dealing with things, emotional things. And let's deal with the fact that some people are birthing things business-wise, but their life, their personal life, is not always balanced and in order. Just like a mother that gives birth, there's a new child in the household, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't struggles, problems, or issues that needed to be dealt with. And it doesn't even mean that it's in your household. Sometimes it's your mama. Sometimes it's your daddy. Sometimes it's other family members. Sometimes somebody calling you to tell you, hey, I know you the person that I lean on. It's like, I can't help you right now. I remember I saw this clip by, what's her name? Sarah Jakes Roberts. And she was talking about, I know that you have these issues right now, but I cannot be the one to receive your problems right now. I have enough of my own. Some people you won't have to cut off, and some other people you won't have to give your boundary line, and they're going to be mad. And you're going to have to deal with that. But hopefully you got that circle around you, your husband, your best friends, the people that are your tight-knit group after you giving birth to this business. Because guess what? There are people that are operating under some narcissistic spirits that are going to come at you. And they're going to be wanting to be part of what it is you develop. They're going to want to be seen with you. Oh, you got this. Oh, you got this. Where this come from? No. You understand what I'm saying? So with that being said, you got to be aware of how people are operating and operate accordingly. You have to be cautious. Level of discernment. When you are birthing something, maybe your eyes are on what it is that you've just developed, you've just launched, you've just created, you've just what have you. And because of that, you have to be cautious of injury. People coming in to become part of, attach, join, become joint partners, want to negotiate, want to develop. Maybe they want to lock in that thing you just created into something that they will own, or all this kind of stuff. And it's new to you and you're still happy about it, but you got to have the lawyer, the assistant, the people that are around you that are like, if you do that, be cautious of that, because you have to have financial advisors, CFOs, all these kinds of people, accountants, because during this time, people might be trying to siphon some money off of you because they see you making it now. So you got to be alert. But you also got to be alert of where are you pushing yourself? Are you pushing yourself too hard in this season? You just gave birth. Don't push too hard. You're not supposed to be pulling on things. Meaning, a woman that gives birth, she ain't supposed to be lifting anything. Meaning, you're not supposed to be carrying a large weight load externally outside of that body, outside of them babies. And some women, they have to be given the baby. They can't be just sitting up there pulling, lifting, bending over, all that kind of stuff. Especially if they were cut open. These are the issues that you're dealing with. So I'm going to pause here and I'm come back in the next one. We're going to talk about that 4th trimester. Okay? All right.